Hi everyone, my name's Chris Bark and today I'm going to be teaching you how we manage to triple the amount of money that comes in every single time we sell a type of item within my store. Now the type of item that we chose to do this with was a flea product called Frontline. This will work in just about any industry, but we've specifically done it for one of my pet stores. So this same example you can use in loads of different industries. So we've used it with an electrical wholesaler who's done it selling alarms. We've done it with bike shops for selling services. But this particular example we're going to use is direct from one of my stores, which is a pet store. So the product that we chose to use was Frontline. The reason that we chose that is it's a product that people need to buy every 3 months. But when we were looking at the data, we were finding that actually people typically are buying it every 7 to 8 months, which basically means they buy it whenever they need it, as opposed to as a preventative measure. So the way that it worked was originally when someone first come into store, they were spending on average £24 every single time that a product sold. So whenever we sell any item of Frontline, our average spend was around the £24 mark. It was about £24.30 actually. So what we decided to do was we decided to see if we can increase that and see how much extra money we can bring in just by a few really simple steps that you can implement in your business today, basically. So the way that we did it is on Frontline, just like any of the SQP flea products, you need to capture information of a customer whenever they buy the product. So we already have an advantage over some businesses where we actually have to capture their information, which we can then use. So whenever someone comes into store, the first job of our staff is to obviously capture their information, to get their name, their email address, their phone number, their postal address, so that we can use that data to actually contact the customers down the line and see if we can increase their average spend. So the way we started at first was that people were on an average spend of £24. They'd come into store and they'd simply buy Frontline, and they might pick up a few other little bits and bobs, but their average spend was pretty low considering what they were buying. So the first thing that we did to try and increase sales was very simply to offer a bump, what we would call a bump, which is essentially like an upsell. It's an offer that is only valid for someone who's buying a particular product. So what we did is we offered anyone who buys that product, they get a bump. Now this bump that we were offering them was a household flea spray. So it was a £12.99 product that most people who were buying Frontline, we were finding the reason they were buying it in the first place is because they actually had fleas, they had the flea problem. So by offering them a bump of a household flea spray, we could alleviate all the fleas that they had on site, and it actually increased our average spend quite dramatically. Now, the only other thing that we did at point of sale at this particular point was to make them an offer. So what we did is we set up a recurring revenue stream. So what we did is we decided that we would offer every 3 months that they would get their Frontline. So we would do like an automated process to allow them to essentially they get it on. They pay us every 3 months. The money would come in and we'd then send them the goods, rather than them having to remember to place their order or to come into store. We'd set them up on a recurring plan. So our staff were under quite strict instructions. So whenever someone came in to buy the Frontline, they would be offered the bump, which was the upsell of the flea spray, and then they would be offered the chance to have a recurring revenue. Now what we found was that about 22%, give or take, of people actually took us up on the offer of going on to a monthly scheme. This might not seem that high, but obviously that for us added an awful lot of extra revenue. It added us guaranteed revenue that was going to come in every 3 months, as opposed to waiting for someone to come back and buy their flea product from us. What it also does is it ties the customer into buying from us, as opposed to going to one of our competitors. Now we do monthly schemes on loads of different things, from dog food to if you look on our EPOS business, we do it on software plans, we do it on support, we do lots of things that guarantees revenue so that we can have a predictable revenue stream all the time, so we can forecast and we can grow our business properly. So that was the first thing we did. Just by at point of sale, we offered them the chance to have a subscription, and we offered them the bump. Now this on its own, if you just did this, would increase sales quite a lot. So with us, that would have, I think at the time, if you looked at just those two things, it probably nearly doubled the amount of sales that we get for every single time we sell an item of Frontline. What we did that really works and really helped us to increase sales was we managed to basically take this particular funnel and then we added something down the line. So what we did is we put a timer on. So we said that 3 months down the line, let's put it over here, and then we'll shove an arrow to it. We said that 3 months down the line, anyone who hasn't bought that product, who hasn't come back in, we put them into a sequence. We automated all this through our EPOS system. We managed to set them up as a point of sale offer basically. So what we did is we said that anyone who buys a free product, automatically they're going to sequence down the line. Now the way the sequence worked was that we added a voucher to the product. So a voucher and an email. So what we did is we designed an email that we sent out to the customer that basically said along the lines of you're coming up to 3 months since you last defleed your dog or your cat. It's really time to buy some new flea product. Come in now and here's an offer. So what we did is we give them a voucher with 10% discount for them to come into store. We sent that by email, so essentially it was very little, if not free to us to do. It cost very little or was pretty much free. So we sent them an email. Now we sent this at about 10 weeks from when they actually bought their free product the first time. Now the reason that we did that was because we wanted to get them in early so that we reminded them prior to doing a hard sell. We left it another week and we added another email to the sequence. So we just done another email which basically said, now you really start to get close to your dog running out of protection. You really need to deflay it. Sent them an email with the same offer and hopefully some people came in. If the person didn't respond to that, we did one last thing, which is we automated the text message to go out to the customer. Now, that automated message we simply sent out, which was exactly the same offer, pretty much the same text, basically saying, you know, your dog or your cat's coming up to end of protection. Come in now, here's your voucher to buy it in store. The reason that we did all that was we were basically trying to get people to come back into store. So the idea of this, all these promotions here, was to drive people back into store and come back in and buy a product at point of sale. Now, when someone came back in at point of sale, because these are people who haven't signed up to our subscription, if they were on subscription, we wouldn't have put them into that sequence. So whenever someone comes back into store, we then go about trying to sell them back to the subscription model. So the way that the traffic basically flowed was that we wanted everyone here who comes in at the first point, so at the first time they buy the till, we want them all to sign up to subscription. Anyone who doesn't, they go into our little sequence 3 months down the line. Once they go into that sequence, if they come in and buy a flea product, we try and sell them a subscription again. It's that simple. That was all we were trying to do. What we managed to do there is, if you look on the figures, we managed to go from an average spend when someone buys a product over a 6 month period of £24, and we managed to increase that to £74.20. So we tripled the amount of money that came in every single time we sell a product, simply by putting together a really simple sequence. All that we did here is we put one offer at point of sale, so we offered them an extra product. It's like in McDonald's when they say, do you want to supersize this? We offered them a product that they needed, which was a household flea spray. We then offered to take away their stress of remembering to come in and buy their flea product, and we offered them a subscription. For anyone who didn't take us up on that, we then put them into a really simple sequence. So we had the timer 3 months down the line, well actually 10 weeks down the line, but near enough 3 months down the line, that if they hadn't come in and bought a new flea product, we'd send them 2 emails and a text. Those emails and text took about 25 minutes to set up. The promotion took a couple of minutes to set up, and we managed to triple the amount of money that came in to our business just by doing that. what we've done, we're doing loads of different videos on this subject of how to increase the amount of money people spend within your business. You can set this up really simply. Every single business can do it. If you've got any product you could set this up on, if it's a product that people need to buy consistently, you could set this same little sequence up and it will have a similar effect to tripling the amount of money. Every business we've done it with has over doubled the amount of money that comes in per sale by doing it. So if you want to find out more information, visit www.posfunnels.com. And if you go onto that website, you'll be able to get all the emails that we actually sent out and a text message for this particular promotion. If you've got any other questions, by all means leave some comments below and we'll try and answer them. Thanks very much.